How's she going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampie's Workshop. I'm so glad you dropped in today for part 3. Appreciate you hanging on. I'm dragging this out, I know, but you know, there's some detail that I'm doing in this electrifying of the Massey Motel and organizing the shelving and whatnot that I wanted to make sure that that I got a copy of it, because I may need to refer to it myself down the road if I ever want to make some modifications. So anyways, we're going to finish off the wiring today, and I'm going to go into a little bit of detail how I connect all the wiring together. We roughed in the wiring the last episode, but we're actually going to connect it up and power it up today. So let's go have a look and see how shocking electrifying the Massey Motel turns out to be. Now while we're here, I think what I'll do is I'll strip this wire back and tie in this outlet, go do that one and work my way back to the switches. So to wire these, you have to peel the insulation off it, right? And then, to make sure I don't forget it, I always want to tie the ground in next. And then in the outlets, if you look in the outlet, a lot of people probably know this, but the center tab is the tab that the power comes in on, and the tab that's on the side is the neutral. So the tab that the power comes in on is usually gold color, the neutral is usually silver color. So you put the white wire on the silver, the black wire on the gold, or the dark wire on the gold, light wire on the silver. So we're going to skin the end off this wire. So another question lots of people have is, how much do I skin off the end of the wire? I skin about 3/4 of an inch. And then I like to turn a hook in it. Just makes it easier to get it on the terminal, on the screw terminal. So the white goes on the silver, and you wrap the wire the way you tighten, clockwise, and the black goes on the gold terminal. And these are green Robertson screws. Everything in the box is a red Raleigh, but everything in the outlets is green. I have no idea why that is. To me, it's a big mistake. I've got an LED light here for it. So this one is a little different in the fact that I've got a feed coming into it, and then the run that goes over to the other light. So a little different that way. So we skin their wires, or split the insulation here. What I like to do when I'm splitting the insulation, especially with a knife like this, is find it in the conductor, in the wire. There's usually 2 conductors in this because it's 14-2. So 2 conductors and the ground wires in the middle. So I like to put, say, the ground wire on one side and lean my knife towards the ground as I split the sheath. That way I'm cutting into the ground wire, not cutting the insulation on the current conductors. And lots of times that works, but sometimes you can still cut the insulation on the current conductor, and then you have to replace it. So you just make a split. You see where the ground is. Now the ground is on the white side, so I'm angling my knife towards the white conductor as I cut the sheath. Or I just skin these wires back. And here's an important fact when you're doing any wiring around your house, if you're doing it yourself. For God's sakes, make sure the power's turned off. And the power is off here because I never connected it yet. Alright, so there's my 4 bare conductors. Now how do we make that connection? In the light socket, if you check it here, there's 2 screws in each side, right? 2 white ones, 2 gold ones. So I put both white wires on here, both black wires on the gold terminals. That connects them up in parallel, and that's the way you want to wire your outlets. You want to wire the lights in parallel, not the outlets, but the lights. So we put a little hook on all these wires. And because I have 2 ground wires, I'm going to tie those together. Give them a little twist. And then take those over there and wrap them around the ground. Alright, we just tighten that ground up there. Okay, now with the green Robbie, put the white wires on the silver. screws. And the black wires on the gold screws. Set the fixture back into the box. So we're going to work our way back down from the light, so we're going to do the switch next. So this is the leg that goes to the light. So we'll skin this wire back. And then this is the one that loops over here. So this is going to be the one that's bringing the power over to this box. And as always, whenever I skin a wire back, I like to connect the grounds first. So then I don't need this length of ground, so I'm going to cut that one off. Push the end up out of the way nice. But now this other one, you never know, eh? Sometimes I might put an outlet in here someday, I don't know. So I'm just going to coil this guy up so I'll have it for future use. But the trick you have to remember when you're coiling them up is you have to put them well at the back of the box out of the way because you don't want anything to short against it. So just coil it up and tuck it in the back. Okay, so we're going to have 110 coming in on this wire. So this is the neutral, this is the hot. Let's just skin this back. This is a bad habit to get into, the way I'm skinning these wires. Because you could score the conductor, and if you score the conductor, like this is only 14 wire I'm dealing with. If you score the conductor, it's not 14 anymore. Even a little nick on them will change them. It's a weak point in the wire and it could, break over time. So it's not a good plan to skin a wire with a knife. You should always have wire strippers. But anyway, look away while I was doing that. All right, so the hot wire is here. I want the hot wire to be switched to go to turn on the lights. So here's my toggle switch. So then marked on that, it says off and on. So off is usually down, on is up. So what I want to do is, if you notice on the switch, both of them are gold. So I'm going to put a black wire on there. The black wire that comes in with the power. So the power black I'm going to connect on the first terminal. Doesn't really matter which one you connect it to, it's whichever makes the neatest wiring in the box. Alright, and then what we want to do is we want to take that hot wire and switch it out to turn the lights on. So we're going to take that through the switch out on the black wire to turn the lights on. Okay, so now in order for the light to come on, it has to have a return path for the current. So we're going to bring the 110 in on here. We're going to turn the switch on. It's going to switch the 110 out here. It's going to go up. It's going to go through the lights and it's going to come back on this white neutral. But we need to tie that back to the neutral. So we tie the two neutrals together to complete the circuit. Just trim the end of that off. This is where marrettes come in handy. Put a marrette on that. And make sure when you put the marrette on, you put it on good and tight and check that it is tight. Then I'm going to coil up the white wire and stick it to the back of the box. Being careful not to let it come in contact with the ground wire that I have there. And then I'm going to fold these wires down and back up again, try to make them look good. And we're going to install this switch right here, making sure that the on position is in the up spot, and it is. Another good idea, I suppose, is not to close everything up until you test it, make sure it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snug those down in the box. I won't put the covers on them just yet, just like that. Okay, so that's that switch. So now we're over to this double box. I want to have an outlet and a switch in this box. So first off, we're going to skin the wires. And then we deal with the grounds. Because we're going to have an outlet, most outlets have a ground conductor on them because it's a 3-prong outlet. So we want to make sure that the power feed that comes in, that feeds the supply, is grounded well. So we're going to take this one and we're going to tie that around the ground there. And we're going to just tighten that up. We don't need to make any connection to this other than to the box. And we're going to cut that off because we don't need that extra wire. And then make sure that that's pushed in out of the way so that it won't short anything. Now I'm going to skin the wires. Okay, so now we got our ground looked after. We're going to wire in our switch. Now what we need to do with this is going to be a switched outlet. So I'm going to put the outlet on the left, switch on the right. But I also need to feed power over here. Because good practice is you only ever have one connection on a screw terminal. What I want to do is I want to join a couple of wires together here. So we do what they call a pigtail. We're going to join these together like this. 3 wires here. I'm going to twist them all together. 3 of them, make this into a bundle of 3. And a key to making a good electrical connection is to make a good mechanical connection. Then the electrical connection will be good. So then we put a marette on that. Check, make sure it's good and tight. So now I got a hook on that one, so that's going to go to my switch. And we make sure that, let me see, that's going up. So we'll put this on the top side. All right, so that's going to be, the power now is coming off of this, it's going to go to the outlet. But this power has got to feed over here. So this is the wire that's running over there. So we're going to join those 2 together with a good mechanical connection, followed by the electrical connection, the marette. Okay, so now we have the hot coming in here, goes to our switch, and it connects over here and goes to this switch to turn on and off the lights. So now we need to go from here back to our outlets. So now I need to put a piece of wire from this switch here to the outlet. And again, the outlet, silver terminals, gold terminals. I'm going to go on a gold terminal because I only have one connection on this. I'm going to tighten this screw in. And if you ever notice on these duplex outlets, there's a little jumper right on the edge there, eh? And you see on this one, the jumper's on both sides and it's intact. If you ever wanted to split these 2 up, you'd break that jumper out of there and then you'd have to put 2 feeds to this to make both sides of it work. So make sure those jumpers are in place. And they are on this one, so that's good. Put a little hook on this guy. And we're going to put him on a gold terminal. All right, one other thing we have to do is put a ground on this. So I have a stranded ground wire here that I'm going to use for the ground, where the code has changed many times about what you need to put for a ground on an outlet. It used to be solid wire, then it went to stranded, then it went to solid, then it went to bare for a while, I think. Anyway, I have a stranded one here, and I'm going to put that on this ground terminal. And also, because I'm not going to be using this ground wire that's going over here, I'm just going to tie that off in another terminal as well. Another ground terminal, just to keep it out of the way. And it has to have continuity, right? So that's why I'm tying that in. And by the same token, I don't want to cut that off because I may need it sometime, so I'll just make a little loop in it. Making sure that it's well out of the way. No risk of shorting out anything. So we'll just connect this ground wire when we put the duplex in the box. So now I've got the hot wires connected. Now the commons have to be tied in order to complete the circuit. I've got two whites here, two commons, and because there's two white terminals on the duplex, I'll just connect them on there. I think that'll work good, eh? So we'll put a hook on that fella and a hook on that fella. And then this guy will go on here. Now, some of these switches of the outlets, if you can see in the back here, there's little slots. What you can do is you can skin the wire back and just stick them in there, tighten the screw up, and it'll secure the connection in the back of it. Also on the switch, they're like that as well, but I would rather use the screw terminals. I'm just old-fashioned that way. I don't really trust those other connections. All right, so now, because the outlet is going to go on the left-hand side, I'm going to tie the ground wire in there on the left-hand box now too. All right, so that should be everything. Now let's see, because we have a bunch of wire here, we have to be careful how we fold it all up to make sure that there's no shorts anywhere, right? So just be careful and kind of curl the wires around, get the marrettes set in there kind of neat, tidy, and basically just jam her in. No, you don't just jam it in, you sort of fold them in as neat as you can get them. It looks like you're jamming it, but actually you're trying to make it neat. And then the switch, make sure we get the switch in the right orientation. And we can snug these down. Okay, so this switch is going to be for this outlet, this switch is going to be for the lights. I need to tie the outlet in down here, so let's do that next. So down here at this box, we have the ground, and the ground coming in from the feed. So we're going to connect those to the box, but we also have to have a ground go to the outlet. You see, this ground seems long enough. Maybe what we'll do is we'll tie that to ground. And then we'll take this other ground and tie that on the other ground terminal. And then we're going to use this ground wire here to ground our outlet. So we'll tie that on. And then, again, we have two whites, two blacks. So we're going to put the whites on the silver terminal and the blacks on the gold terminals. Okay. This white is going to go on here. And then this black is going to go on here for the gold terminal. And then one final connection. Now I like to set my outlets U ground down, just because it sounds nice to say it that way. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason on how you do it, but this is the way I do it. Okay, nothing left to do now but try it. We're going to test this one step at a time. So we're going to start here with my battery charger. Plug that in. And there, just powered up. So we've got power on that outlet on both top and bottom. Okay, so this is the switched outlet and the power is off now. So we'll plug our charger into that. Wait a minute or a couple of seconds. It's not powering up. Nothing there, so we turn the power on. And it powered up. No power. Power up. Switch it off. Shuts off. So the outlet, the switched outlet is working. So we got power here. Switched outlet is working. The only thing left to do is try the lights. And the Lord said, "Let there be light." And there was light because Moses was the chief electrician. Oh, look at that. Even the lights work. So we're just finishing up by putting these plates on here, the switch plates. And wouldn't you know it, these are kind of cream colored, and the only switch plate I have for a game like that is white. Oh well. Sometimes, you know, you can only do what you can do. There we go. So I think that's it. You know what? I think my Massey Motel is finished. We have the electrics in now. We've got a couple of storage shelves. We got the scaffolding at the back there to put my couple of attachments on. So I think she's done for all intents and purposes. The Massey Motel is finished. So thanks a lot for watching. I sure appreciate your time. It's been a long project. I thought it was only going to take me about maybe 3-4 weeks to do this. This is getting on to 6 and 7 weeks. So yeah, it's a lot longer than I thought. Not as young as I used to be, I guess. But thumbs up me. Comments are welcome. Have a great week wherever you are, folks, and we'll talk to you soon.